TV47. Happy holidays.
Well, a very good evening to you. Thank you for making time to watch us this evening. You're watching TV47 Spotlight from our Mombasa studios, County 001. It's always a pleasure to have you. Now, we have a lot lined up for you tonight, and my name is Mariam Mwacharo. We begin with ODM leader Raila Odinga now says that there will be another opportunity to amend the 2010 Constitution. Odinga further told of critics of the BBI report led by Deputy President William Ruto.
The former Prime Minister Raila Odinga says there will be more opportunities for the 2010 constitutional amendments. The ODM boss has accused critics of the bill of employing delay tactics to the process.
But you cannot take everything on board in a constitutional amendment. What is not on board today in the BBI will come again. There will be another opportunity for another amendment to be done. What we are doing right now is called the first amendment to the 2010 Constitution. There will be a second amendment, a third, a fourth, a fifth. Nobody is preventing the church from coming up with another amendment if they want to do so.
Deputy President William Ruto has been insisting that he's not interested in the contest for the review of the Constitution.
If you don't want it, you have a democratic right to oppose. And one vote no. Let those who want it vote yes. This is democracy.
Odinga further castigating Ruto's church contributions, accusing him of corruption in the country. Odinga warned church leaders to refrain from taking his contributions.
The thieves who have stolen public money run to churches. They keep on asking church leaders, when are you going to invite me for a rambi? So that I can come and make donation to your church. And when he comes to make that arambe, he makes other demands.
Odinga reiterated that corruption has derailed the government's development goals in the country.
You see a leader confronting the president. Wait for us. We as church, take us on board. You have views. Where were they when people were giving church views to the steering committee? Where were they?
The BBI Secretariat has so far collected more than 5 million signatures.
Meanwhile, Deputy President William Ruto has said he is not interested in the contest for the review of the Constitution. He says he was only available at the reasoning that would give Kenya a rich and all-inclusive system of laws. Ruto says the move would accord leaders ample time to focus on pressing issues facing Kenyans.
The anti-referendum campaigns in the BBI process were taken to Jesus is Alive Ministries Church here in Nairobi, led by Deputy President William Ruto and a host of members of Parliament. Ruto has clinched on his position that the referendum can wait until contentious issues surrounding the process are resolved.
Mimi ninaamini ya kwamba inawezekana tutembee pamoja. Hakuna haja ya sisi kuweka tofauti katika mambo ya katiba ambayo ni katiba ya Wakenya wote. Hatutakuwa na katiba mbili. Tuko na katiba moja ya watu wote wa taifa la Kenya. Na kwa sababu katiba hii ni yetu sisi zote, jameni, tukubaliane, tutafute namna, tujenge daraja ya kuwaleta Wakenya pamoja na kutufukisha sisi wote pamoja upande ule mwingine. Na inawezekana.
In the event the referendum takes place, the Deputy President insists that all procedures must be followed. According to the Elections Act, in that the referendum must have multiple questions, since the BBI report has several issues that seeks approval by Kenyans.
Our law, the Elections Act, proposes that where there are more than one issue, like it is the case in this change of the Constitution, we should have a multiple choice referendum. And that is all we are asking.
Leaders who had accompanied Ruto at the church service voiced his lamentations, claiming that Kenyans are being tricked to pass the BBI report in a one-question referendum.
Tuko na mocks ambao tunaambiwa tufanye leo Sunday na kesho Monday ni exam. That mocks is useless. Our exam ni 2022. Mocks ya leo, we will refuse the invitation.
Wanataka tuseme yes na no in a collective way, so that zile mbaya ziko ndani useme yes, zile mzuri ziko ndani pengine useme no. And we are telling them we want multiple questions. We decide what we want to change and what not to change.
The leaders say there are a dozen of issues to be addressed, including schools reopening, the COVID-19 crisis, locust invasion, and the doctor strike. And as such, the BBI process can wait since it is not a priority.
Kenyans are dying every day. This week, Your Excellency, from Monday to yesterday, there is not a single day sijaenda mazishi ya mtu wa corona.
As we speak, we are seeing our frontline workers dying of corona because they have not been provided for with PPEs. Yet tunajua PPEs are also lying in the storage units in KEMSA, na tukadanganywa hapa ati sijui within 60 days COVID billionaires will have been dealt with.
Wakati ambao tunaendelea kuona maafa ya corona, madaktari wamekosa vifaa vya kujikinga, walimu wanakufia kule kwa mashule. Sisi kama wana Nairobi tunaangalia hiyo Januari, tunajiuliza hii Januari kweli tutaweza kufanya kazi ya kujikinga kuishi na tena tufanye kazi ya yes na no?
Kericho Senator Aaron Cheriot allayed fears that the 5 million signatures collected might not be legitimate and asked the Electoral and Boundaries Commission to dutifully verify and publish every signature collected.
Wamepatiana vitabu ya signatures but not copies of BBI. Mmejiuliza ni kwa nini? If they were genuine and they were sincere, ungekuwa unapatiwa kitabu copy ya BBI, unasoma alafu unapatiwa signature. Lakini hata hizo signature mimi najua ni za uongo.
The leaders also chided the referendum, alluding that it is a ploy by the BBI proponents to use it as a tool for mobilization ahead of the 2022 general elections. Mwangi Maina, TV47, Nairobi.
Elsewhere, leaders from the populous Mulembe nation have been faulted for failing to unite the community by failing to come out to contest for top positions. This was the message that dominated a fundraiser at Christ the King Catholic Church in Bungoma town, with Kakamega Senator Cleophas Malala saying the problem is underlying the community is leaders themselves. Mike Kagwongo with the details.
The Mulembe nation has been divided further in recent days, with every leader trying to unsuccessfully bridge the rift. And today in Christ the King Catholic Church in Bungoma, Kakamega Senator Cleophas Malala stated that the enemy is within, pointing fingers at Senate Speaker Ken Lusaka, Bungoma Senator Moses Wetangula, Governor Wycliffe Wangamati for the Luhya division.
Kwamba adui ya Mluya sio Mkalenjin, adui ya Mluya sio Mkikuyu, adui ya Mluya ni Mluya mwenyewe. Mwenzako akipata wewe unasikia vibaya. Na tusipotatua hiyo tunadanganyana. Tusianze kulaumu ati Wajaluo wanatugawana, Wakikuyu wanatugawanyisha. Hapana, ni sisi wenyewe tunajigawanyisha. Mheshimiwa Moses Wetangula, shida yako ndio huyu wa Munyinyi amekaa na wewe. Mheshimiwa Moses Wetangula, shida yako ni Governor Wangamati amekaa na wewe, amevaa mask. Mheshimiwa Speaker, shida yako ndio huyu Wangamati, mnasumbuana. Sasa shida ndio hii hapa. Kama mnaweza ombewa leo na muokoke na Waluya wakwe pamoja, basi tutafika hata hiyo Kana na mnasemanga tutafika.
Let us also as people of Mulembe learn to invest in our leaders so that tukienda kushikana pamoja, if we go for any negotiations, we shall be heard when we are stronger and when we are together than when we go separately.
Malala, who apparently waded into Ford Kenya woods, asked Kandui MP Wafula Wamunyinyi to shelve the ongoing plans of deposing Senator Wetangula from the party leadership if at all he still wants to represent Kandui constituency.
If you are a party leader, you must be wanting to become a president of the Republic of Kenya. Kama Wamunyinyi unataka kuwa president, mimi nitakuunga mkono ukuwe party leader wa Ford Kenya. Kama unataka kuwa president. Lakini kama unataka kuwa party leader ndio ukuwe MP wa Kandui, sasa hiyo unatusumbua na unatupotezea wakati. You are wasting our time. And we know who can be president, who cannot be president.
2022 politics were rife at the event for the Kenya party leader Moses Wetangula and his ANC counterpart Musalia Mudavadi asked to disclose their ambitions, or else other leaders will come out to run for top positions at the national front.
And I want to tell you, Moses, we are watching you people, you and Musalia. Nimewaangalia, I'm almost giving you the last chance. If you guys are not delivering this thing in 2022, tutawafukuza mutoke mbele yetu kabisa. I'll want now to take charge. I think I have enough experience to fight for the leadership of this country.
Sasa bana Weta, sisi umetupigania kama Waluya. Na sisi kama vijana Waluya tumesema tutawanyorosha bana. Mukifanya mchezo sisi tutawanyorosha muingie kwa line. We shall not accept our community tena ianze kuwa auction na kutumiwa vibaya kugawanisha na kupiganisha viongozi wetu.
For TV47 from Bungoma County, I'm Mike Kagwongo.
Now, as Nairobi Governor Mike Mbuvi Sonko awaits his fate, Senate Speaker Ken Lusaka has convened a special sitting on Wednesday next week to debate the Sonko's impeachment. However, a section of Nairobi leaders have questioned the legality of impeachment motion against Sonko, claiming the assembly defied a court order to suspend the motion. Musa Sala with the details.
Barely a week after the Nairobi County Assembly passed the impeachment motion against Governor Mike Mbuvi Sonko, the leadership crisis at City Hall now has the Senate on its toes to determine Sonko's fate, with Senate Speaker Ken Lusaka recalling the House from recess.
Jumatano tuko na special sitting kama bunge la Senate, tulikuwa tumeenda recess, but we have a special sitting kwa sababu MCS wa Nairobi wameimpeach governor wao. Sasa anakuja kwangu Jumatano, tuone vile tutafanya. Hawa ndio wataamua, mimi ni referee.
The Nairobi County Assembly impeached Sonko on Thursday following an impeachment motion that was tabled by Embakasi Member of Assembly and Minority Leader Mike Oganda.
We have to correct the mess and ensure that our people, the electorates, the people who serve this county are receiving the services that they deserve.
Sonko has been accused of gross misconduct, abuse of office, and lack of ability to lead the county. Sonko has also been accused of derailing the Nairobi Metropolitan Services NMS development agenda by failing to sign the county's 2020-2021 budget. 88 MCAs voted to oust Sonko, with only 2 MCAs voting in his favor.
The effect of these results is that the motion has been carried, and therefore the Assembly has resolved to remove His Excellency the Governor Mike Mbuvi Sonko from office by 2/3 of the members.
Solidarity forever.
However, youth leaders in Nairobi County have condemned the Nairobi County Assembly for impeaching Sonko, claiming that the Assembly defied a court order that suspended the impeachment motion.
They said that they are determined to sacrifice at all costs and to disregard an active court order which barred the Assembly from prosecuting the notice of motion to impeach the governor.
Narok Senator Olekina Ledama shared similar sentiments, citing the Assembly for contempt of court. The youth leaders have also threatened to cause chaos in the city if Sonko is not reinstalled, further saying that they will collect signatures from residents of Nairobi, which they will then present to the Senate on Monday.
Le mambo mnafanya, sisi kama vijana wa Nairobi tuko na masahihi zetu na tumehakikisha vijana wote na wamama na wazee Nairobi County wameweka sahihi zao wakikondemn hiyo mambo ambayo kwamba inaendelea ya impeachment ya Mbuvi Gideon Kioko.
Hii form ni sisi wananchi ndio tutarudisha siku ya kesho, tupeleke kule Senate wakuwe na habari ya kwamba wananchi wa Nairobi hawajatoa gavana kazi.
Ndiye asikie maneno ni lazima kukue na furuga hii town. Juu tuliona wakati Raila Amolo Odinga alisimamisha hii town siku 2 alimuita handshake. Na sisi tunasema kuanzia Tuesday hii town itakalika hadi Rais Muigai Kenyatta aite governor chini wapige handshake. Si ndio wa Kenya? Sisi tunataka handshake ya 3. Sasa tuelewe Governor Mike Mbuvi Sonko akae chini na president waelewane na hii mambo ishe.
In its special sitting, Senate will discuss Sonko's predicament and decide on his fate. Musa Salah, TV47.
Well, now it's time for us to take a short break at this juncture, but when we come back, we're going to give you more details about the suspended doctors' strike that was expected to start tomorrow. Remember, you can interact with us on our social media platforms on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter is at TV47 Kenya. Do not go too far.
Wajuao walisema kwamba jina jema hung'aa hata gizani.
Na vile wakasema bora ni bora iliyoboreshwa, na habari za TV47 zinazidi kuimarika kila kuchapo.
Tunasanzuka na kutamba ili kuhakikisha tunaweka bayana taarifa kemkem zenye usawa na mantiki.
Katika mida ya alasiri kabla ya jua kutua kutoka kaunti 001 na kupeperushia shina la upeo.
Na inapowadia saa 1 kamili,
nachukua usukani kukufahamisha
na kukupeperushia taarifa ipasavyo.
Tutakueleza ni kipi kilichojiri na wahusika ni wepi.
Ungana nasi kila siku ya wiki tukujuze, kwani usilolijua ni kama usiku wa giza.
If we had not gone into PPEs right now, we wouldn't be having this opportunity to tell the story of how equity helped the local sector. There's a lot more that we can do locally. Let's explore and let's see what we can do.
Equity. Bega kwa bega.
Wajuao walisema kwamba jina jema hung'aa hata gizani.
Na vile wakasema bora ni bora iliyoboreshwa, na habari za TV47 zinazidi kuimarika kila kuchapo.
Tunasanzuka na kutamba ili kuhakikisha tunaweka bayana taarifa kemkem zenye usawa na mantiki.
Katika mida ya alasiri kabla ya jua kutua kutoka kaunti 001 na kupeperushia shina la upeo.
Na inapowadia saa 1 kamili,
nachukua usukani kukufahamisha
na kukupeperushia taarifa ipasavyo.
Tutakueleza ni kipi kilichojiri na wahusika ni wepi.
Ungana nasi kila siku ya wiki tukujuze, kwani usilolijua ni kama usiku wa giza.
If we had not gone into PPEs right now, we wouldn't be having this opportunity to tell the story of how equity helped the local sector. There's a lot more that we can do locally. Let's explore and let's see what we can do.
Equity. Bega kwa bega.
Wajuao walisema kwamba jina jema hung'aa.
This is TV47. Happy holidays.
thank you so much for staying tuned. Remember, you can interact with us on our social media platforms on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter is at TV47 Kenya, or you can also catch us on our website on www.tv47.co.ke. Welcome back as we continue on this bulletin, or also you can text us on our SMS line is 22047. Now, as I told you earlier, we're going to give you more details about the doctor's strike that was expected, and at this moment, the news that's coming to our desk is that the doctor's strike has been suspended. So we'll give you those details later. But if we continue with the bulletin right now, is that Kenyans who practice FGM in Mount Elgon are reportedly crossing over to Uganda to continue with the practice. Now, Adventure Youth Group from the region has urged the government to restrict movements as borders, as Wanji Sostin now reports.
Just hours into beginning the doctors' nationwide strike on Monday morning, the Kenya Doctors Union KMPDU, through a memo, has deliberated to suspend the strike for 14 days to allow for dialogue. And if the issues will remain unresolved upon the lapse of the 14 days, the strike will commence on the 21st December. 3 weeks in, the committee and the Doctors Union KMPDU have been on the negotiation table to come up with a clear roadmap to address the issues laid out by the health workers, with the union saying the government has had ample time to fulfill their demands.
Come Monday morning, you will have no doctors. The strike will continue as per the advisory of the National Advisory Council of KMPDU until all these matters are resolved.
According to the unions, close to 763 health workers have been infected with COVID-19, 37 of whom are still ill, and 9 others have succumbed to the virus. Among the issues the unions want addressed is lack of adequate personal protective equipment, PPEs, for medics who are in the forefront in the war against COVID-19, as well as providing them with medical insurance.
Wengi wetu wamepoteza maisha, na leo hii maafisa tabibu 9 baadhi ya wale ambao wameweza kupoteza maisha katika huduma zetu za afya, wahudumu wetu wa afya, hatuwezi kusikizwa. Leo hii tunasema hatuna vifaa muhimu kwa ajili ya kujitetea, lakini hatusikizwi. Tunasema hivi hatuna motisha hata ya kupandishwa vyeo peke yake, lakini hawataki kutusikiza.
This comes even as the country records 396 new COVID-19 infections, bringing the total tally to 88,380 positive cases. 397 more people have recovered from the virus, while 8 others have succumbed to the virus. Nano Cloren, TV47.
And in Nakuru County, Governor Lee Kinyanjui says health workers in the county will not participate in the strike. Our Naivasha-based reporter Willie Dennis Njiru with the details.
Speaking during a funds drive at St. Saviour Catholic Church, Kayole, Naivasha, Nakuru County Governor Lee Kinyanjui has assured all patients that medical services across the county will not be paralyzed as they have met all demands by the medical fraternity.
Tayari tumetoa ripoti yetu kwamba kama county tumeweza kutekeleza yale yote ambayo county inapaswa kufanya. Tumeweka kando hospitali ya kuwatibu wakati wanapata COVID wao na familia zao. Tumeanza kuanzisha mambo ya promotion, mambo ya PP tumeweza kuwakilisha kwa kila mtu, na hivyo basi kama county hatuna lawama ambayo inaweza kusababisha waende katika mgomo.
A looming strike across the country is imminent at the wake of Monday, as per the directives issued by their union following a spate of deaths among the medical workers.
Madaktari ndio hao wametupa imla ya kugoma. Imagine
daktari wa Kigoma na COVID.
For the patients who report to the hospital to find no service because our healthcare workers are in solidarity with other counties, it will be totally unfair and irresponsible for healthcare workers.
Drumming up support for the BBI, the governor called upon the residents of Naivasha to support the bill as they stand to benefit with 2 more constituencies alongside Gilgil and Nakuru West.
This BBI is coming to raise your vote and your voice in the house. Hapa katika Naivasha, tunataka kuongeza another 2 constituencies, which means we'll have a total of 3. Out of those 3, if each MP is given 100 million shillings, kona moja 100 million, mwingine 100 million, what will we have in total? 300. Is that not a priority?
On her part, the Naivasha legislature, Jane Kihara, differed with the governor over the issue and called upon the electorate to make wise decisions based on personal character and not party affiliation.
Mimi sina kamati tena. Kwa hivyo ukiongea mambo ya chama hapa, hakuna kitu naniambia. Uchague kiongozi yule unataka, wachane na chama.
Nimesikia dada yangu akisema hapa chama haijalishi, lakini mimi ningetaka kuambia chama is everything.
This comes amidst a heated contest of the Lakeview seat that fell vacant April this year following the death of area MCA.
Mimi sikuhusika katika chama kuchagua mwakilishi wake, but for now I'm the leader of Jubilee here in Nakuru and I will be seeking support for Matthew in the coming by-election.
Reporting for TV47 from Naivasha in Nakuru County, I'm Willie Dennis Njiru.
100,000.
Now, on other news, there was tension and confusion at Rehema Pentecostal Church in Munyanza, Butere, Kakamega County. Now, this is after the church donor arrived at the venue and cleared all goods and equipment he had bought for the church before undressing the priest in front of the congregation.
Sunday morning at Rehema Pentecostal Church and business was not as usual.
Nilikuwa na hubiri. Sikiliza, tafadhali. Hata Mungu hapa ni kwa madhabahu. Najua.
Chaos erupted after Stephen Mukota, a donor at the Pentecostal Church, arrived and cleared all goods and church equipment from the church.
Kama tuko Illuminati tuliwaambia wangeanza kutuombea kwanza tutoke kwa Illuminati. Kuliko tunawasupport kila kitu mpaka suruali tunawanunulia, chakula tunawanunulia, and then at long last hata wako na inawaya. And then at long last wanakuja kusema tuko Illuminati.
Accompanied by his wife Susan, Mukota undressed the priest in front of his congregation, saying he was going against the church laws by neglecting his first wife.
Huyu bibi ameconvince pastor kukuhama nyumbani, ameenda kuja kaa naye town. Watoto wanateseka. Kutamka hivyo wanaona kama sisi tunawaingilia ndani ya maisha yao, lakini ukweli inaumiza.
The priest acknowledged sponsorship from Mukota and his family, but says there is a plan to ruin his marriage. The church proceeded despite chaos that erupted during the service. Andreen Kilemi, TV47.
Now we're taking a short breather here, but don't go too far. When we come back, we have more news and in the world of sports as well.
Wajuao walisema kwamba jina jema hung'aa hata gizani.
Na vilevile wakasema bora ni bora iliyoboreshwa, na habari za TV47 zinazidi kuimarika kila kuchapo.
Tunasanzuka na kutamba ili kuhakikisha tunaweka bayana taarifa kemkem zenye usawa na mantiki.
Katika mida ya alasiri, kabla ya jua kutua, kutoka County 001 na kupeperushia shina la upeo.
Na inapowadia saa 1 kamili,
nachukua usukani kukufahamisha
na kukupeperushia taarifa ipasavyo.
Tutakueleza ni kipi kilichojiri na wahusika ni wepi.
Ungana nasi kila siku ya wiki tukujuze, kwani usilolijua ni kama usiku wa giza.
If we had not gone into PPEs right now, we wouldn't be having this opportunity to tell the story of how equity helped the local sector. There's a lot more that we can do locally. Let's explore and let's see what we can do.
Equity. bega kwa bega.
Wajuao walisema kwamba jina jema hung'aa hata gizani.
Na vilevile wakasema bora ni bora iliyoboreshwa, na habari za TV47 zinazidi kuimarika kila kuchapo.
Tunasanzuka na kutamba ili kuhakikisha tunaweka bayana taarifa kemkem zenye usawa na mantiki.
Katika mida ya alasiri kabla ya jua kutua, kutoka kaunti 001 na kupeperushia shina la upeo.
Na inapowadia saa 1 kamili,
nachukua usukani kukufahamisha
na kukupeperushia taarifa ipasavyo.
tutakueleza ni kipi kilichojiri na wahusika ni wepi.
Ungana nasi kila siku ya wiki tukujuze, kwani usilolijua ni kama usiku wa giza.
If we had not gone into PPEs right now, we wouldn't be having this opportunity to tell the story of how equity helped the local sector. There's a lot more that we can do locally. Let's explore and let's see what we can do.
Equity, bega kwa bega.
Wajuao walisema kwamba jina jema hung'aa hata gizani.
Na vilevile wakasema bora ni bora iliyoboreshwa, na habari za TV47 zinazidi kuimarika kila kuchapo.
Tunasanzuka na kutamba ili kuhakikisha tunaweka bayana taarifa kemkem zenye usawa na mantiki.
Katika mida ya alasiri kabla ya jua kutua, kutoka kaunti 001 na kupeperushia shina la upeo.
Na inapowadia saa 1 kamili,
nachukua usukani kukufahamisha
na kukupeperushia taarifa ipasavyo.
tutakueleza ni kipi kilichojiri na wahusika ni wepi.
Ungana nasi kila siku ya wiki tukujuze, kwani usilolijua ni kama usiku wa giza.
If we had not gone into PPEs right now, we wouldn't be having this opportunity to tell the story of how equity helped the local sector. There's a lot more that we can do locally. Let's explore and let's see what we can do.
Equity, bega kwa bega.
Wajuao walisema kwamba jina jema hung'aa hata gizani.
Na vilevile wakasema bora ni bora iliyoboreshwa, na habari za TV47 zinazidi kuimarika kila kuchapo.
Tunasanzuka na kutamba ili kuhakikisha tunaweka bayana taarifa kemkem zenye usawa na mantiki.
Katika mida ya alasiri kabla ya jua kutua, kutoka kaunti 001 na kupeperushia shina la upeo.
Na inapowadia saa 1 kamili,
nachukua usukani kukufahamisha
na kukupeperushia taarifa ipasavyo.
tutakueleza ni kipi kilichojiri na wahusika ni wepi.
Ungana nasi kila siku ya wiki tukujuze, kwani usilolijua ni kama usiku wa giza.
If we had not gone into PPEs right now, we wouldn't be having this opportunity.
This is TV47. Happy holidays.
Well, thank you very much for staying tuned to the fastest growing television station in the country, TV47. Remember, you're getting this bulletin from Mombasa County, County 001 at our Mombasa studios. Now, later on, we're going to be talking to one advocate of the High Court of Kenya, Mr. Ndegwa. So later on, we'll be talking to him about Governor Sonko's impeachment. Thank you so much for staying tuned. Now, moving on, 2 minors who were stolen in Nairobi yesterday have been rescued and 1 suspect arrested at the Busia border by DCI detectives. According to Director of Criminal Investigations, the children aged between 8 and 4 years had been left under the custody of their house girl, while the children's parents had traveled to Meru to attend a king's burial. Just head on to speak with the Advocate of the High Court, Mr. Kirogo Ndegwa. If you can hear me, thank you very much for making time for us this evening, and a very warm welcome to you.
Thank you so much, Miriam.
How are you?
It's a pleasure to be part of you. Thanks. I'm very fine.
Well, thank you for making time for us this evening as usual. It's a great pleasure. Maybe if we can start, there are a lot of people who are questioning the legality of, Governor Mike Sonko's impeachment. What are your thoughts on that?
Thank you so much for that question. I believe that the issues on legality revolves around two things. First, that there was a court order that had barred the county assembly from discussing the motion of impeachment. The other one was with the presence, whether all the MCAs were present during the hearing of the impeachment motion. I think those are the two issues that revolves around the legality. Now, first, there is on whether the High Court or the judiciary, any court in the judiciary can stop another branch of government or another government from conducting its legal mandate. That has been an issue that was determined in the Supreme Court decision, where the court held that because of separation of powers, the court cannot interfere with the operations of either let's say a county assembly or of parliament. Therefore, the right procedure should have been that the governor of Nairobi should have let the impeachment process to proceed, then challenge raise those issues upon determination. Either he was not given the right to fair hearing, that there was bias and all that. So then I believe I may not have seen the latest order from the court, but I believe that the court, the environmental court, declined to extend the interim orders. Hence, the court was well in the county assembly was well in order to proceed with the impeachment motion.
Okay.
Yes. Now,
so
this is now that it has already been done. Now that it has already been done.
Yes.
The much Governor Sonko can do is should it be that they did it out of in contempt of court orders. The much he can do is cite them for contempt. But what they did was still legal. It was still procedural. And now the motion proceeds to the Senate. Now, the other issue is on whether the MCAs were, whether there was some kind of fraud. They are alleging fraud that
yes, and I was actually just coming to that. Sorry for cutting you short, because here in Mombasa County, we were with some of the MCAs in Kwale County.
Yes.
Wajuao walisema kwamba jina jema hung'aa hata gizani.
Na vilevile wakasema bora ni bora iliyoboreshwa, na habari za TV47 zinazidi kuimarika kila kuchapo.
Tunasanzuka na kutamba ili kuhakikisha tunaweka bayana taarifa kemkem zenye usawa na mantiki.
Katika mida ya alasiri kabla ya jua kutua, kutoka kaunti 001 na kupeperushia shina la upeo.
Na inapowadia saa 1 kamili,
nachukua usukani kukufahamisha
na kukupeperushia taarifa ipasavyo.
Tutakueleza ni kipi kilichojiri na wahusika ni wepi.
Ungana nasi kila siku ya wiki tukujuze, kwani usilolijua ni kama usiku wa giza.
If we had not gone into PPEs right now, we wouldn't be having this opportunity to tell the story of how equity helped the local sector. There's a lot more that we can do locally. Let's explore and let's see what we can do.
Equity, bega kwa bega.
Wajuao walisema kwamba jina jema hung'aa hata gizani.
Na vilevile wakasema bora ni bora iliyoboreshwa, na habari za TV47 zinazidi kuimarika kila kuchapo.
Tunasanzuka na kutamba ili kuhakikisha tunaweka bayana taarifa kemkem zenye usawa na mantiki.
Katika mida ya alasiri kabla ya jua kutua, kutoka kaunti 001 na kupeperushia shina la upeo.
Na inapowadia saa 1 kamili,
nachukua usukani kukufahamisha
na kukupeperushia taarifa ipasavyo.
Tutakueleza ni kipi kilichojiri na wahusika ni wepi.
Ungana nasi kila siku ya wiki tukujuze, kwani usilolijua ni kama usiku wa giza.
If we had not gone into PPEs right now, we wouldn't be having this opportunity to tell the story of how equity helped the local sector. There's a lot more that we can do locally. Let's explore and let's see what we can do.
Equity, bega kwa bega.
Wajuao walisema kwamba jina jema hung'aa hata gizani.
Na vilevile wakasema bora ni bora iliyoboreshwa, na habari za TV47 zinazidi kuimarika kila kuchapo.
Tunasanzuka na kutamba ili kuhakikisha tunaweka bayana taarifa kemkem zenye usawa na mantiki.
Katika mida ya alasiri kabla ya jua kutua, kutoka kaunti 001.
This is TV47. Happy holidays.
Well, thank you very much for staying tuned, and we apologize for that small mishap there. Mr. Kiroko Ndegwa, if you're with us right now, if you can hear me, we were talking about the MCAs claiming fraud of the impeachment of Governor Mike Sonko. So I was actually explaining that we did have them with us in Kwale County on Thursday. A number of the MCAs, around 57 to 59 MCAs who were there, and they say that they did not have their phones. They were actually there, you know, just waiting to see the whole process happen. So, you know, bearing that in mind, you know, does that put the impeachment, you know, in the illegality section? Does that put Kenyans to actually question the impeachment?
Thanks for that question. Now, the MCAs, allegedly, there were around 57 MCAs that were at Kwale where the impeachment motion was going.
Yes.
Now, this this one reverts back to the standing orders of the county assembly. Two things. One, whether the standing order allows for MCAs to participate in a debate of great intensity, such as this one, for involving the impeachment of a governor through through virtually through either Skype, Zoom, or Teams, Microsoft Teams, or any other platform. Now, if the standing orders that do not expressly prohibit that, then that the impeachment still stands. However, the courts have been very reluctant when, for instance, the logging details. I believe these are private details like PIN, personal identification numbers. If the MCAs revealed that to another party, then they cannot come and allege that there was foreplay. Courts have held that that should be kept privately by the person. You should not reveal it to a third party. So should the MCAs have revealed this to another party, then they cannot come and allege fraud. Then 3, on issues of fraud. Fraud is a claim of great. It's something that has great magnitude. You have to prove it. The MCAs will have a hard task to prove that there was fraud during the impeachment motion. Yes.
So after what happened on Thursday?
Yes.
After what happened on Thursday, what's the way forward for Nairobi County?
Now, because of separation of powers, the doctrine of separation of powers, we'll have to wait until the governor presents his case at the Senate. I believe Senate is a house of people, of honorable members. They should be able to distinguish between right and wrong, whether the claims made against the governor are that of great magnitude to ensure to allow for his impeachment. In the meantime, I think from several of such motions have been brought in the Senate. The very last one being this one from the Kiambu County, the former county governor of Kiambu. They seemed not to rely so much on the process, but rather on the substantive issues raised, such that the Senate is most likely to consider the grounds in which the county assembly is relying on, whether they are substantive and whether they have been proven. On issues of the process, that may be that can only the Senate is most likely to leave that for the governor to appeal either to the High Court or any other or the judicial system. Else, now the Senate is most likely to consider whether the issues raised are substantive and whether they have been proven.
Okay, very quickly, because we're actually running out of time. We know that now with all this happening, should the government be ousted, the governor of Nairobi be ousted, does Muhammad Badi, and that is NMS, stand a chance to actually lead Nairobi County?
Whether the director for Nairobi Metropolitan Services, his tenure is tagged, whether he's tagged, he's pegged upon the tenure of the governor. I don't think so, because it was the deed of transfer between the county government. It was actually between the county government and the national government, and not between Governor Mike Sonko and the national government. So unfortunately, or fortunately, the tenure of Nairobi Metropolitan Services boss, or the services itself, or the entity itself, is not pegged upon the tenure of the governor.
Okay.
Yes.
So there's a lot more questions coming in here on our social media platform, but my director there tells me that there is not much time. Mary Washuka, I don't know if I have 2 seconds to ask the last question. All right. So here we go. So there's been a lot of proposals, to scrap off Nairobi as a county. What's the legal procedure for that effect?
For Nairobi County to be scrapped off, that would require.
Be scrapped off, yeah.
Yes. That would require for a constitutional amendment. This being one of the protected clauses in the constitution, we'd actually have to go through the process called referendum. I think this was a proper opportunity for us to, should the people of Kenya find it wise and appropriate, they would have put it in the BBI now that we have an opportunity to amend it. Yes.
All right, so let's move on to other news. Thank you very much for making time for us. Of course, there's so many questions coming in on our social media platforms. We'll definitely be getting back to our viewers and also getting back to you on another interview if we do schedule one very soon. Mr. Kiroko Ndegwa, thank you once again and have a lovely night.
You too, thanks.
All right, that was Mr. Kiroko Ndegwa, advocate for the High Court of Kenya, who was talking to us about, Sonko's impeachment, and if there was going to be, or there is going to be an ouster, then what's next for Nairobi County? Now let's move on to sports. Kenyan. Thank you very much for staying tuned. Again, we apologize for that short mishap. Now, Kenyan athlete Kibiwot Kandie smashed the half marathon world record by 29 seconds after clocking 57 minutes and 32 seconds to win the Valencia half marathon. In the women marathon, Pere Jepchirchir.
Wajuao walisema kwamba jina jema hung'aa hata gizani.
Na vilevile wakasema bora ni bora iliyoboreshwa, na habari za TV47 zinazidi kuimarika kila kuchapo.
Tunasanzuka na kutamba ili kuhakikisha tunaweka bayana taarifa kemkem zenye usawa na mantiki.
Katika mida ya alasiri kabla ya jua kutua kutoka kaunti 001 na kupeperushia shina la upeo.
Na inapowadia saa 1 kamili,
nachukua usukani kukufahamisha
na kukupeperushia taarifa ipasavyo.
Tutakueleza ni kipi kilichojiri na wahusika ni wepi.
Ungana nasi kila siku ya wiki tukujuze, kwani usilolijua ni kama usiku wa giza.
If we had not gone into PPEs right now, we wouldn't be having this opportunity to tell the story of how equity helped the local sector. There's a lot more that we can do locally. Let's explore and let's see what we can do.
Equity, bega kwa bega.
Wajuao walisema kwamba jina jema hung'aa hata gizani.
Na vilevile wakasema bora ni bora iliyoboreshwa, na habari za TV47 zinazidi kuimarika kila kuchapo.
Tunasanzuka na kutamba ili kuhakikisha tunaweka bayana taarifa kemkem zenye usawa na mantiki.
Katika mida ya alasiri kabla ya jua kutua kutoka kaunti 001 na kupeperushia shina la upeo.
Na inapowadia saa 1 kamili,
nachukua usukani kukufahamisha
na kukupeperushia
KF Premier League tie at the Kasarani Stadium as Anthony Modo Kimani kicked off his second spell as Ingwe interim coach with a win. Elsewhere, Sofapaka edged out Western Stima 3-1, Alan Wanga rescuing a point